Avery, through 2 games, what do we know?
Well, what we do know through 2 games is the Warriors are here to play, and they're here to give themselves the best chance to win this championship. And we know that the Warriors defended the others, EK, for the Celtics. You look at a guy like Al Horford, he didn't even attempt the three-point shot tonight. Marcus Smart was 0 for 3 from the three-point line. And what a strategic move. We predicted it in the pregame that Steve Kerr was just going to basically play Jason Tatum one-on-one, shut the others down, shut down their production. They'll live with Jason Tatum's 28 or 30 points, but they could not live with the Celtics, making another 21 threes tonight. So give Steve Kerr credit. The rest of the guys, Gary Payton II played extremely well in terms of his defensive effort. Steve Kerr went deep into his bench, but give the Warriors credit. Klay Thompson didn't play so well tonight, but give the Warriors credit. They bounced back, Bill, and they were extraordinary in their performance in Game 2.
Unfortunately, I've got a little technical difficulty, so I can't hear the guys back in Stanford, but I'll just add on to what you said. What an incredible defensive performance by the Golden State Warriors. Stephen Curry was great. He got a ton of help. 6 guys, 6 teammates at or near double figures. The addition, the catalyst, the energy of Gary Payton II. This was a complete Warriors performance. Like you said, you were right. I got too caught up in the moment. This was the team we expected to see in Game 1, and they were absolutely focused on the fact they were going to throw everything they had at this Celtics team to even this series.
The third quarter has been interesting in both games. The Dubs really have dominated both third quarters, and this one so dominant at the end of the third quarter they put it out of reach. A 6-point game became a 23-point game. Why are they so good in the third quarter? They've really been all year. And can Boston adjust? Why is nobody able to slow this team down in the third quarter?
Well, specifically tonight, the third quarter, they were good because Draymond Green did a sensational job on Jaylen Brown. When Green was matched up with Jaylen Brown struggled. We also talked about coming into tonight's game when the Celtics turned the ball over, 18 turnovers tonight. When they're north of 13 turnovers, it doesn't bode well for them in terms of them having success. So they turned over the Celtics. They got quite a few points off turnovers. They did a nice job of slowing down Brown. They did a nice job of getting out in transition, getting other guys involved. Everybody was touching the ball. Steph Curry obviously did his thing. And then Jordan Poole made some huge threes for him. And that really gave them that momentum building that third quarter.
Yeah, and I love what Steve Kerr did, the adjustments he made in garbage time, keeps Jordan Poole in. Jordan Poole puts up a really big fourth quarter, gets some confidence, gets some buckets, and left Klay Thompson in when both those starters sat down. Just try to give him the opportunity to get in rhythm a little bit. This went perfectly if you're a Golden State Warriors fan.
Well, you mentioned Klay Thompson. That'd be the one thing I would say that didn't go perfectly. They left him out there in the fourth. He was brutal. There's no other way to say it. He was 4 of 19 from the floor. He was 1 of 8 from 3. Coach, this is somebody that you talked about pregame. What's your level of concern with Klay, and is it fixable? Because he couldn't throw it in the ocean tonight.
Yeah, when you talk about Klay Thompson, we talked about it in the pregame. I thought he was going to explode tonight and lead the Warriors in scoring. But Klay Thompson struggled. He had a left-handed post-up move there in the second quarter, and he shot an air ball. Defensively, the first 3 of the game that Jaylen Brown made, he was out of position. And then again, just some of the shots, the lethargic effort he had driving to the basket, just didn't have it, struggled tonight. But again, this is a guy that we know can go off in the NBA Finals. Who knows, there'll be a game in this series where he knocks down 8 or more threes, and we'll forget about his performances in Game 1 and especially in Game 2, because Klay Thompson, he's got a pretty jump shot. historically, he's been a prolific three-point shooter. Didn't have it tonight, but we know what he's capable of.
I mean, with this level of defense on both sides of the equation, Celtics, especially since late January, and the Warriors over the course of the regular season, and both these head coaches, I mean, Ime Udoka has been remarkable game-to-game adjustments. You know there are going to be games where big-time players have poor performances because they're being targeted, and it's a really, really difficult task night in, night out against these defensive efforts. But you're right, Jaylen Brown is not afraid to shoot the ball, wasn't afraid tonight on an off night. Just like Jason Tatum struggled in Game 1 and was great in Game 2, Jaylen Brown's going to be just fine.
Yeah, but are they just fine for the Boston Celtics in terms of a third scorer? That leads really nicely into my thought about the Celtics. Look, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum are great players. They're going to get theirs. But they don't really have a consistent third option. I saw Grant Williams do it in Game 7 against Milwaukee. I've seen Horford do it in spots. They had one guy over 6 points other than those two, and it was Derek White, and he did it all in garbage time. They had 34 points in the second and third quarter. Golden State had 35 in the third. Is ultimately Boston come down to, can I have a third guy that I count on, or I'm going to lose the series, Coach?
Yeah, they got to have a third guy, a consistent third guy. Like you said, Al Horford's been there in spots. When you look down that roster, who is going to be Peyton Pritchard? I doubt it. Peyton Pritchard's going to be the guy. You know, Marcus Smart. You know, you go back and look at Game 2 in that Miami series when he was unbelievable offensively after not playing in Game 1. So I think they're going to lean on Marcus Smart. You just can't lean on 36-year-old Al Horford. Couple of strategic moves also that the Warriors, they use Gary Payton II on him. They use obviously Draymond Green. They didn't switch a lot of his pick and rolls. Klay Thompson spent some time, and when he got the ball in the post, there was no help. So little strategy there, but Boston is going to have to find a third consistent scorer because two guys are not going to beat this Golden Warriors experienced team.
And I think they will find those scores. I mean, you guys are absolutely right, and they did not get enough help. And in a lot of ways, it mimicked what we saw from the Golden State Warriors in Game 1. Now, Andrew Wiggins had a good offensive performance in that game, but outside of him and Stephen Curry, the Warriors' offense were fairly anemic. One thing about Boston, and this has just been proven true, we have a sample size going back to January 22nd. Since that date, when they were under 500, they've only lost back-to-back games in the regular season or the postseason a single time, and that was in the middle of the regular season of that run. They have been extraordinary of finding guys, of Ime Udoka making adjustments. I think the expectation for this Celtics team is what we've seen when this has happened. Jaylen Brown's going to be better. They're going to have a better game plan, and unlike tonight, I think they will find, because we found it before, some of these role players, especially at home in Boston, where it just feels different when you're not a star, able to contribute offensively.
All right, I tried to guess who would be favored in the series after watching every second of the first two games, and I said Golden State slightly. The odds maker said not even. It is now a exact even Steven, dead even series, and it's a best of 5. Golden State would get Game 7 at home if we got there. Boston has home court advantage in these Game 5, including the next 2. Right now, they say it's even. I'm not going to let you say even. Who do you favor right now in this new best of 5? Bill Reiter.
EK knows. I wanted to go even. I wanted to go with Vegas. All right, I'll answer the question even though it's uncomfortable because it is a tough one and it feels like a coin flip. To me, it feels like the Boston Celtics by a slight amount, only because of, I think, 3 important factors. One that we talked about, they haven't lost a back-to-back game, or they've only lost a single one since January. The second is how good they've been on the road, especially in the postseason. So I feel like if they have to and their back's against the wall, they can come back here and they can get a win. Doesn't mean they will, but they know they're capable of doing it. And the third thing is the fact that they did steal, despite what happened tonight, home court advantage. They go to Boston. They they have home court advantage over that best of 5 EK that you talked about. I don't know who's going to win. My confidence level on which way it's going to go is basically 0 because it is a coin flip. But a part of me feels like, Coach, it's Boston.
I'm sticking with the Warriors in 6. I just trust the Warriors a little bit more, especially with ball security. The Celtics, they've had their share of problems, especially in the second semifinals in the Eastern Conference and the Eastern Conference Finals. They've had moments where Jason Tatum will turn the ball over 6 times in a quarter. They turned it over 18 times tonight. They're a little bit careless with the basketball. I'm going with the team that I trust to take care of the basketball and get more shots at the basket. And and I think that's the Golden State Warriors. And then at the end of the day, as good as Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are, they just don't have Steph Curry. I trust Steph Curry and his experience a little bit more, and we'll see if Klay Thompson is going to come out of his shell and play at that high level that he's played before in 6 other NBA finals.
Well done, gentlemen. Yeah, that's how even it is. I could see one person saying Boston, one person saying Golden State, and it's only because I didn't let anybody say even. I mean, hey, we're that close, which should make for a great final, or at least a lot to talk about between now and Game 3. There you go. All right, so we're headed to Boston. That's right. 3 and 4 in Boston. 5 would go back to the Bay Area, and you're going to play at least 5. And then if you need 6 or 7, and you're only not going to need them if somebody wins all 3 of those games before you, Game 6 would be in Boston, and then 7 would be back in the Bay Area if necessary.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.